Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking you a question. What would you do if life suddenly demanded more of you than you thought you could give? Most of us like to think we'd rise to the challenge, but the truth is, we don't really know until that moment comes. And today, I want to share a story that proves sometimes courage comes in the smallest package, wearing shoes too big and carrying a heart too heavy for its size. It begins in a rain-soaked city, on a Monday morning. A millionaire CEO named Richard Daniels was about to start a long day of interviews for his company's new executive assistant, a position hundreds had applied for. He wanted someone sharp, experienced, professional. But when his assistant opened the door to the conference room for the first interview, in walked not a seasoned professional, but a little girl. She couldn't have been older than 11. Her hair was neatly tied back, though a few strands had escaped in the rain. Her oversized coat dragged on the floor. In her small hands, she clutched a folder stuffed with papers. She walked right up to the CEO's desk, stood on her tiptoes to meet his eyes, and said, without hesitation, "Sir, my mom's sick. She was supposed to come today. But I came instead." The room went silent. Even Richard, who had faced boardroom battles, billion-dollar negotiations, and the harshest critics in the market, found himself speechless. The girl's name was Emily. Her mother, Sarah, was a single mom, fierce, hardworking, and the kind of woman who always put her child first. She had prepared for this interview for weeks, desperate for a stable job that would keep a roof over their heads. But that morning, she collapsed with a high fever and could barely move. So Emily, seeing her mother's distress, decided she wouldn't let the opportunity slip away. She dressed herself, gathered her mother's resume and portfolio, and took 2 buses across town, in the rain. Richard tried to explain that job interviews weren't really for children, but Emily simply opened the folder, pulled out her mother's documents, and said, "I know I'm not who you expected, but I can tell you exactly why you should hire her." And then, this little girl gave the most heartfelt pitch anyone in that building had ever heard. She spoke about how her mother worked 2 jobs, never complained, and still found time to help her with homework every night. How Sarah taught her to never give up, even when they had to count pennies to buy groceries. How she once fixed a broken washing machine with nothing but a YouTube tutorial and sheer determination. "She's the most capable person I know," Emily said, her voice trembling but steady. "And if you give her this job, she won't just do it, she'll make you proud." The CEO sat there, looking at this child who had just walked into a corporate interview room and turned it into a testimony of love, resilience, and faith. And in that moment, Richard Daniels realized something. Resumes tell you what a person has done. References tell you what others think. But sometimes, the greatest interview is given by the life someone has lived, and the people they've touched along the way. Richard excused himself, walked out of the room, and came back with a cup of hot chocolate for Emily. He thanked her for her courage. And then, without another interview, without another candidate, he told her, "Tell your mom she starts Monday." Emily's eyes lit up, not because of the job itself, but because she knew her mom's struggle was about to ease. She left that building with a smile brighter than the morning sun that had finally broken through the clouds. Now, here's the thing, this story isn't just about a CEO's kindness, or a little girl's bravery. It's about the fact that strength doesn't always show up in the way we expect. Sometimes it's wearing a power suit. Sometimes it's wearing rain boots. Sometimes it's an 11-year-old standing up for someone she loves. And I want you to remember, life will put you in moments where you feel too small for the problem in front of you. Too inexperienced, too underprepared. But courage is not about size, age, or title. It's about stepping forward, even when you're scared. Even when you're not ready. Emily didn't wait until she was old enough to apply for a job. She didn't wait until she had the perfect words. She just showed up, did her best, and let love guide her. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. Show up, speak up, stand up for what, and who, you believe in. Because the world doesn't just change when CEOs make decisions, it changes when ordinary people choose to do something extraordinary. So the next time you're tempted to step back and say, "I can't, it's too much, someone else will do it," remember the little girl in the rain, walking into a room full of adults, holding her mother's dreams in her hands. And ask yourself, if she could do that, what's stopping me from doing what I'm called to do? Thank you.